how are you? My name is Jenny and I am the English language arts teacher here in the International Montessori School in Sotogrande. Today, I would like to talk to you all about how to encourage bilingualism in the home. But first, let me introduce myself. I have many years' experience working with children, both Spanish and native speaking English children, and I have used different manners of teaching in order to help children become bilingual. My degree is in English and drama, so I also have a master's in English and education and theatre. So I really want to share with you today some tips about how we can encourage bilingualism in the home. So let's start by me showing you some of my tips for learning English in the home. Okay, so how to encourage bilingualism in the home. So I believe that being international means opening one's mind to other cultures and different ways of thinking. We're living in a world where English looks set to remain the lingua franca, but where being able to speak, read and write in only one language is no longer enough. Children must be prepared to live and thrive in a multilingual and multicultural environment, to be able to learn the skills and aptitudes required to prosper in a perpetually changing world as a fundamental part of their education. In this video, I aim to summarize what makes bilingualism so appealing and how it can be managed and cultivated at home for an optimal experience for your child. So today I'll be covering the facts and myths surrounding bilingualism, tips for how you can incorporate bilingualism in your home, and how you can have fun with it as a family. So let's start with the facts and myths. The facts about bilingualism are bilingualism provides or confers a variety of proven benefits for children. It fosters executive function improvement, which means that the child is able to process things a lot quicker. They have a better working memory because of this. They're able to select a word, whether it be in their own mother tongue or in another tongue to another language, to be able to explain themselves more expressively, either in writing, in reading, in speaking, in drawing, creatively within the theatrical side of things as well. So their better working memory isn't just for language, it also extends into mathematical concepts as well. So this also fosters cognitive flexibility, and that creates then an even better school performance. Children become more adaptable and are thought to be better at problem solving. So let's then talk about the myths. There's one popular myth about raising a bilingual child that is that exposing children to more than one language will result in development delays or speech disorders. This idea is not supported by the research, and many countries, indeed more than half the world population, already raise their children in bilingual or even multilingual environments. There are nothing but benefits to building a bilingual learning environment for children. So with that, I would like to give you, as an English language teacher, my tips for bilingualism in the home. Okay, so to get the most out of bilingualism at home, here are some top tips for you parents. Firstly, provide exposure to your child's second language. Both parents might not necessarily be fluent in your child's second language, but it's important for the child to receive as much exposure as possible to help immerse them in the learning experience. For non-native speakers, the exposure to the additional language should be approximately 40% in order to progress adequately. In other words, to acquire basic interpersonal communication skills within 6 months to 2 years and cognitive academic language proficiency within 4 to 7 years. So what can you do? How can you do that? Well, you could watch movies or TV in the second language. Most importantly, to keep literature such as books and magazines around the house, which is written in that second language. Outside of school, look for activities and workshops which will allow your child to be in contact with native speakers. So things like sports are very, very good for encouraging and fostering bilingualism, arts and crafts. It depends how old your child is. So in the summertime, maybe think about some camps like theatre camps or dance camps. Anything that will foster their language can be a valuable opportunity to develop their language skills in a fun environment. Now, correcting their mistakes. There are different thoughts on this. If you should correct a child's mistakes or not, let them make them. Well, there is a way to help them without being too harsh. So if you're helping your child to learn a language at home, correct them, but don't make it too oppressive in case they become afraid to speak the second language. Don't outright call them out for being wrong, but rather rephrase it or repeat what they've said back to them in the correct way to help them recognize their mistakes exactly like you do while helping the child develop their mother tongue, but never directly accuse them of being wrong. In a most sympathetic way, for example, a child says something wrong and you say, okay, so what you said to me was, and you repeat it back to them. Okay, so then the other thing you could do, the other tip would be to set goals. So while your child is already taking language in school with me or with their Spanish teacher, there's no harm to also have goals for their functional literacy. So whether you want your child to be able to speak fluently or to be able to read and write at the level of a native speaker, or you just like for them to be able to ask directions in a foreign country, or to ensure that they're able to work alongside people from different cultures and multilingual people, or if you just want them to speak fluently in more than one language. So ensure that you work alongside your child and cooperate in their efforts towards their specific goals. This includes participation in their language work, whether it's work that they've done in school to reiterate it during the evening, but don't do the work for your child. Show interest in what they're doing. So ask them to explain, give you explanations about the language that they've learned that day. Do not expect your child to be able to translate everything from one language to the other one. Instead, encourage translanguaging. What this means is to use the mother tongue as the additional language. If you know yourself the missing words in the additional language, gently rephrase while using them. So the goal here is to improve your child's self-confidence and in speaking in another language as their mother tongue. And most of all, the final tip that I have is to be patient. Everyone adopts languages at different rates, and it might be difficult if you feel that your child doesn't seem to be getting it at the pace that you'd like. But like all things, it is a gradual process that requires exposure, effort, and motivation on both parts of the parents and the child. Stay the course. The benefits will be undeniable. So as I've said before, for non-native speakers exposed to an additional language, which is 40%, the basic interpersonal communication skills will develop within 6 months to 2 years, and cognitive academic language proficiency within 4 to 7 years. And this is my last and final tip, and it is the most important. Make sure when you are learning a language with your child or encouraging them to learn a language, to have fun. Learning anything is best when it's engaging, fun, and doesn't feel like work. Use tools that you may have at home. Make puppets together. Let those puppets talk to each other in the target language that you're both learning. Do some snap games where you're looking at vocabulary and or memory games where you have to try and remember what the picture is in relation to the word that you're trying to learn. Don't just make it a question of looking at books and having tests and things like that. As much fun as possible. Go to places where you know that this language might be spoken. Interact with those that you think might be able to help your child have fun and learn the language at the same time. but also try to bring in reading for fun. Every night, try to read something in the target language. Try and put on silly voices. These really help your child enjoy the reading process, whether it be in their own native tongue or in the language that you're hoping they will learn. Play games with them. Make sure that you have a lot of counting games where you're using the target language to count, to skip and jump and run. Solve puzzles together. Sit down and see, can you do a whole puzzle in the language that you're trying to learn? And also learn riddles in the language that you're trying to learn, and ask your child the riddles in that language. See if they can solve that riddle in the target language. Okay, well, that's all from me for now. I just want to say thank you very much for listening to me today. And I hope that I've helped you in your language journey with your child. As always, I encourage bilingualism in every single way, and I hope that this has helped you with my tips and tricks today. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.